Hi there, this is Aaron, and I'm here with a video which is a new proof of the impossibility of the sphere-Earth model, which is pushed on us all. Obviously, there are lots of ways to prove that the surface of the Earth has no curvature and is flat. But what's unusual about this one is this is really, you could describe this as a glitch in the matrix, because what I've found is that actually there are events in history which have been somewhat covered up, it seems, because they don't really fit with the sphere-Earth model. So these events that I'm talking about are radio broadcasts. If you look back through the history of radio, obviously radio goes back far before the time that we're told there were satellites and all sorts of other things. In fact, they go back to valve technology. Broadcasts are made from masts, and if you have a single mast broadcasting at any point on the Earth, should we say, if obviously it was a globe, imagine a single mast broadcasting. Electromagnetic radiation travels in straight lines. The mast would not be able to broadcast around the curvature of the Earth. Now, if you look at, if you talk to shills and so on about radio, then they will, and you say to them, how is it these radio broadcasts have reached, all this way around the world? They will try and tell you that there's relays all over the place. However, back in the early part of the 20th century, no such thing existed. When radio was first used, there were broadcasts done which are impossible in the sphere-Earth model, and the powers that be have tried to suppress knowledge of this. So if you were to go to the Wikipedia page, for example, on the history of radio broadcasting, you wouldn't see anything suspicious. If you try to look back at the early history of the British public broadcasts, which were known as the Empire Service, you won't really be able to find any details, because there are people that have been working quite hard to put all this down a memory hole. The Empire Service was the precursor to what's now known as the BBC World Service, and the Empire Service was broadcast from the UK and was broadcast to the entire British Empire. Now, the British Empire, in order to reach all parts of the British Empire, broadcasting from London, you are broadcasting across the entire known world. This is impossible unless the world is flat, essentially, because how would any mast be able to transmit around significant parts of the curvature of the Earth? It's completely impossible. So the Empire Service was in fact proving by its very existence that the sphere is impossible. However, it's very difficult to find details on this. So I've been looking for some time, hunting around for proof that these broadcasts were made, proof which is still actually available in the public domain. And I finally found some interesting proof when I came across a documentary from 1953. Now, this documentary was about transistors, about how the invention of transistors was going to change everything, which of course it did. And in one part of the documentary, it starts talking about broadcasts that were made from Arlington, Virginia in 1915. Now, these were made from a set of masts, and these radio broadcasts were picked up in Paris and Hawaii, according to this documentary, which is produced by various firms, including, I think, General Electric. And this documentary in 1953, they must have realised after that this is one of the items they'd better hide away, because it's only recently that this 1953 documentary has been re-released and is available. So I was watching this documentary, and sure enough, it started talking about these broadcasts, and actually put up a little graphic map which I've snapshotted. And so you can see that they're claiming that these broadcasts were made in Arlington, Virginia, were picked up in Paris and Hawaii, significant distances around the curved surface of the Earth. And unless someone has a way to explain how these signals somehow reach their destination, I mean, no doubt shills will start talking about freak atmospheric phenomena and weather conditions and God knows what. But actually, if you look at the history of these ideas that the atmosphere can interact with EM radiation, you'll see that those ideas were born after all of this, probably as a way to patch up the fact that it's completely impossible. Now, I don't think anyone has ever produced any evidence that radio waves which you send up into the atmosphere are going to get bounced down around the world, around the sphere of the world. What are they going to bounce off, and how does that work, and what is the evidence that there's any way for this to occur? It's just ridiculous. So I'm afraid they screwed up. They screwed up by being too proud of their worldwide transmissions, making a big song and dance about it, and then only too late realising that they just proved that the world is not a sphere. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've given this info to various other people in the Flat Earth movement today, and hopefully they will be breaking this out as an additional killer proof. So yeah, so I hope that helps. Take care.